Welcome back, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one. LeBron James will not be hard to replace once he's gone, right? We're going to go over a few things why it's not going to be hard to replace LeBron once he retires. Okay, look at the. We'll go over it in a minute, but the biggest standard for LeBron to replace him is 4-6 and two statistical titles in 21 seasons, and all six losses in the NBA Finals were blowouts, right? So this is the standard that LeBron set, right? That this is all you got to do to be better than LeBron. This is the face of the league the last 15 years, okay? This is the face of the league, right? So let's go over a couple things right here. And this one is called the chosen failed one, right? Because they all said he was the chosen one. Chosen to do what? Chosen to do what? We had Kobe Bryant in the league, and that was the closest thing we seen to Michael Jordan, right? So we already know LeBron's game wasn't like Michael Jordan's, right? So it was more like a Magic Johnson, right? It didn't really develop like that because he isn't even on the level of a Magic Johnson or a floor general or a winner at that. So let's get into this one. The chosen failed one. 2004. Yes, he was the rookie of the year. Nobody knows how. He shot 41% with shooting like 60-70% of his shots in the paint. He was a minus 144 for the season, right? He wasn't an all-star. He didn't make the playoffs. 2005, he got a little bit better from the floor, became an all-star, missed the playoffs with an all-star teammate, right? Because he lost 19 out of 31 games after the all-star break, right? 2007, he makes the finals, right? And he melts down in the finals, shoots like 30-something% in the finals, like 5 turnovers a game. And, it's just one of them things. Shot like 60-something% from the free throw line. But it's just one of them things. Yes, the competition was fierce. It was, more than what you probably could handle. But this guy had been in the league 5 years. And you didn't have to melt down. You could have just went down like an OG in defeat, like Jordan did when he played the Big Five Celtics. He was setting records on them, right? It ain't got nothing to do with the competition. Ain't got nothing to do with the competition. Now you might melt down, but you don't. For a game, this dude melted down the whole series, right? So there's no excuse that because of the competition, you're going to melt down like that. And some of these guys were like new to the team, like, Tony Parker. And, he got shut down by Bruce Bowen and, this type of stuff. Role players winning MVP, finals MVPs. So yeah, he got swept and he melted down. That was the biggest thing. Who cares about losing or being swept? He was young. But you melting down like that just showed early that against great competition, you wasn't that man. In '05, right? No, '06, the year before, he made the playoffs and he lost 3-2 to the 4-2 to the Pistons. Took a 3-2 lead going back home and pooped his pants in both games. 5 and 6, according to averages, right? Just because you lost, that don't mean you melted down. So let's keep going. '09, he won the MVP, number 1 seed overall in the playoffs in the league, and lost to the number 3 seed, Orlando, right? Because he melted down and melted down in games 5 and 6. He didn't even go to 7 games. The next year, 2010, number 1 seed, MVP again. had the best record in the NBA, lost to the Big Three Celtics, right? The Big Three Celtics, big bad, mighty, bad boy, Big Three Celtics, only won the conference one time in like 6 years. And LeBron had the number one seed over them both years in a row. Well, we know what happened. LeBron melted down in games 4, 5, and 6. That's when the next year he went to Miami and to see if Wade and Bosh could make up for his shortcomings as far as shooting. And from 2011 to 15 or 14, whatever you want to call it, he melted down the first year and he got beat by a record margin by the Spurs in the last year. So he only won 2 out of 4 championships, only had the number one seed one time, and won 2 MVPs with a super team, right? I thought it was the most valuable player to your team. How can you be the most valuable player to 2 top 10 guys of the league at the time, and you had another top 75 player in Ray Allen, right? How could you be the most valuable to your team, right? So he goes and creates another super team with 2 of the top 10 players. I think at the time, Kyrie and Love, number one franchise players again, and he only wins one championship, right? 2015, he melted down. He shot like 39% from the field, like 5 turnovers a game, 60-something% from the free throw line. It's just horrible. I don't care if Love and Kyrie went down. Your averages got to stay up, right? So, he gets swept by Durant. 2017, Durant outplays him while Kyrie outplays Curry. And I think Love and Clay was about even, right? So 2019, he misses the playoffs. He wins that bubble championship that nobody respects with another super team, because you got to remember Howard was on that team, and he had a great cast. 2020 lost. 2021 lost in the first round. 2022, 5 Hall of Fame players couldn't even make the play-in. And remember, they did this play-in just for LeBron, right? And he couldn't even make it. We'll come back to that in a minute. 2023 swept in the Western Conference Finals, and he's got AD on his team, Hall of Fame player, top 75 player, and Joker had no all-star teammate, or what is it? No Hall of Fame teammate. Joker and them swept these guys, right? So in 20 seasons, only 4 chips, 1 assist title, 1 scoring title, 6 finals blowout losses, right? Because you couldn't even go to the 7th game, right? That's a blowout loss. What else would it be? You lost like a couple of them 4-1. You got swept twice. You never got to 7 games on the other ones. While playing with 10 Hall of Fame teammates in 20 seasons. So let's go back to this super team in when was it? 2022, 5 Hall of Fame players on one team and couldn't even make the play-in, right? Only LeBron could do something like this, right? You give Michael Jordan those same players, because I think, what was this, like 30, 36 years old? You're trying to tell me Michael Jordan at 36 wouldn't make the play-in? You'd probably be looking at another three-peat, because Jordan would put these guys in practice. He'll run them through the rigors and all this stuff, but Michael Jordan would never do nothing like that anyways, okay? They was talking about this stuff when he was in Washington the first year, and then they didn't make the playoffs. Him and Kobe was talking about coming together, right, and going to play, or it might have been, I forget what year it was. I know he was at Washington, And then they never came together, him and Kobe, and played together because, listen, that just wasn't Jordan's style. He wanted his legacy to be built on what he did alone. He wasn't going to do something that everybody else would. I mean, his legacy just is stronger because of that. You got to remember the Burrs and the McHales and the Dennis Johnson and the Bill Walton and the Robert Parrish, five guys to win like three titles, right? And then you think about the Magics, the Kareems, the Worthies, and the other guys that was on the earlier teams. I forget their names. They needed all these guys to win the championships that they won. Jordan did more with less. He won two championships, right? Without an all-star teammate, and won four championships with one all-star teammate, right? Won three championships, a three-peat with one Hall of Fame teammate. In the other three, he won with what? Well, I mean, I guess you can put Kukoc in there, right? But he ain't making nothing, no Hall of Fame in the United States, right? So Jordan always did more with less. If you go watch my other video, Jordan plotted to be the greatest. He didn't want a lot of help like all these other guys had. Isaiah Thomas went and got Adrian Dantley. They had like four Hall of Famers on one team at one point, just to beat up on Jordan, who didn't even have an all-star teammate at the time. So when we look at this, LeBron has been to 10 NBA Finals and only averaged 30 points per game three times. Right? 10 NBA Finals and only averaged 30 points per game in a series three times. Look, if we count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it took LeBron until his sixth NBA Finals to average 30 points per game. Jordan did that in his first three finals, right? And if I'm not mistaken, he averaged 30 points per game in 5 out of 6 NBA Finals. Okay? So LeBron really isn't that good scorer when you look at it. His first finals, 22 points per game. Second, 17 points per game. Third, 28 points per game. Fourth, 25 points per game. So his average you went from 28 to 25. And then the fifth, 28 points per game. And I think, this is the 2015, right? When he melted down as far as averages are concerned, because he shot like 39% from the field. Yeah, he averaged 35 points per game, but the guy averaged like 4 or 5 turnovers a game, shot like 60-something% from the line. He shot like 31% from three. I mean, we're talking about averages. This guy was horrible, even though he averaged 35 points per game. And we know that's because Kyrie went down. And he still couldn't carry. Remember, in that series, he took a 2-1 lead going back home without Kyrie, right? Because Kyrie hurt himself after the first game. So he won the second game without Kyrie against a Warriors team who had never even been to the NBA Finals. And when you go look at their career accolades, Curry, Clay, and you look at Draymond, there's no accolades. I think Curry won the MVP that year. How did Curry win the MVP that year over LeBron? You guys said he's been the greatest in the league since he came in the league, right? and he hasn't won an MVP since 2013. Curry won that over him. And like I said, they pretty much had no accolades except for Curry. Had like a couple All-Star games, and you had that MVP. This was LeBron's sixth finals. Sixth. Right? You should have put up 40 points per game to win that series. You should have put up 40 points, but he can't. Can't do this type of stuff because he has no real game. He can't shoot. You guys are talking about the greatest shooting era of all time, and you guys are talking about 80s and 90s players couldn't play in this era, but this guy can't shoot? Right? This guy can't shoot. He can't shoot from the line. He can't shoot a mid-range. He can't shoot to win the game. Right? In the NBA Finals, he can't do that. He's tried a couple. He tried in Miami. He tried in Cleveland, bricked it up. But you guys are trying to tell me that these players in the 80s and 90s couldn't play in this era, but this dude is LeBron? Look at this. Look at this right here. This is like the nail in the coffin of what's to come, right? LeBron gets 40,000. No, on here, he becomes the all-time leader, right? In points, and he passes Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? And we was all waiting for this moment to happen. But let's rewind. Let's rewind real quick. Because we know Jordan has the most finals MVPs, right? Bill Russell has the most championships. Okay? Kareem has the most MVPs. So everybody has a trophy pretty much named after them, right? Or they got a trophy for something that they did, right? Finals MVPs. He's got the most MVPs. LeBron doesn't have a trophy or an award named after him, right? And the LeBron fans really thought, I don't know what they were thinking, but I think while they were cheering this on, LeBron I don't even call it breaking a record, really. He's got the most points of all times. He ain't the greatest scorer. One scoring title. He ain't the greatest scorer. He ain't even in the top 10 of greatest scorers of all time. He has the most points, right? He didn't get one award or one trophy for that, right? And LeBron, to this day, when they named all the trophies and put people's names on it, whether it was the MVP, the Finals MVP, the Western Conference Finals MVP, the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, all these different awards, LeBron didn't get one, right? And his fans will sit up there and lie up a storm and say, oh no, he's still playing. Let me try to tell you something. I don't care if Michael Jordan was still playing. I don't care if Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was still playing. I don't care if Hakeem Olajuwon was still playing, Kobe Bryant. If those guys were already in the peak of their careers or on the downside of their careers where we already knew that they were already great, like LeBron in his 20th season, right? They say this guy is the greatest of all time or number two, right? He's better than Kareem, better than Jordan, better than Kobe, better than Larry, better than Magic, right? All those guys that I mentioned that they say LeBron is better than, they all got awards named after them. And there's no more awards now, right? No more great awards, right? So LeBron is better than all these guys, number one or number two, according to the media, right? But he has no award in his name. Wow. And I'm just trying to tell you, this is to let you know what's to come, right? About this guy being on PEDs, allegedly, right? They didn't want to, I think it's a thing where they didn't want to strip or put his name on an MVP or a finals MVP, whatever it was, a rebound. You really can't put him on no statistical title awards, right? He's it's a joke. So to me, like I said, I think they already knew they was going to take this guy, have to take his name off of these awards, because what's to come in the future, look, it's not going to look good for the LeBron fans, okay? And he ducked out in the last game on Friday as the Lakers still won. And I think he's going to duck out tonight against the Timberwolves to get this heat off of him. If he's if he's smart, that's what he's going to do. He's going to stay on the bench. Because if he comes out, people are going to be screaming steroids, Labalco, all this stuff in the stands. I don't care if he's playing at home, right? So I think it's cool for him, and I think that's what he did Friday. Let's see what he does today just to sit out, right? Until this whole steroid thing blows over, because it's blowing up. And this is why this guy isn't on any awards that was given out to the greatest players of all time. But somehow this is the greatest of all time. LeBron is, or the second, but he doesn't get an award. Like I said, they would have did this for Michael Jordan. They would have did it to Hakeem. They would have did it to Magic, right? They would have gave them an award. Look what they did with Shaq. Shaq didn't really deserve to be on the top 75 players of all time when it first came out, but they put him in there. Okay, they're doing everything else for LeBron while he's playing, but they're not going to put him on any award. How come they didn't just make an award out of the blue, right? Since he has the most points of all time, they could have just made an award. But they didn't do it for Kareem. They didn't do it for Wilt. So it's meaningless. So you guys tell me what you think, man.